I saw God at 7-Eleven. It was 6 months ago, and I was walking to my nearest 7-Eleven, and I turned in the door, and I had God on my mind. And what I was thinking about was I thought the world was going in a certain direction because I'm a conspiracy theorist. And I thought, I don't like where this whole thing is headed. Um, is there anything I can do to stop it? And if I do nothing, will evil win? Like, and if God's real, like, why does he need me? Like, why doesn't he do it himself? So I'm questioning the existence of God and the battle between good and evil and where humanity is going. So that's what's on my mind. And then I'm thinking, you know, if I really am the only, like, why am I here? Like, uh, because I can't shake the feeling that I can do something about the problem. The problem of information being twisted and controlled and uh, manipulating the people with it. Um, so, like, I think I could one day make a good argument um, that a lot of people could rally behind. I think I have that capability. I'm not saying I'm there yet, but I think it's theoretically possible when you imagine all the branches of your life, like the highest version of yourself. How dangerous are you, or how beautiful are you, and how brave are you? So anyway, I was thinking about those things, and I was thinking, you know, what if, I'm assassinated or something, and I thought, how do I know? Like, I'm thinking to God, like, how do I know that like, on my quest for redeeming everyone, um, it would be very easy to just kill me and, like, poison the apple that I'm about to buy. If I'm trying to be healthy, I'm getting an apple and a water, and I'm like thinking, how can I do the best I've done, or whatever. And so that's where my head's at. And I know that's a crazy place to be in, and I'm not there every day, but I was this time. And so I'm walking into 7-Eleven, and I'm thinking I look at myself on the security camera as I walk in, and I'm thinking, not good enough. Like, I gotta reach my optimal form to make a difference that this world requires. And I was basically saying to God, like, look, if you're not gonna do this, then I will. Like, if you're not real, I'll make you real. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, I'm gonna be my best self and fight this evil. Like, for that no one else can even see. Like, a lot of people listening to this are like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Well, you're not a white blood cell. You don't see the infection. You don't care to take it out. Just live your life. We need you too. If you're a red blood cell, the body dies without you. Okay, the body of Christ. I have a different job. And so I'm thinking, as a white blood cell, like, how do I know it's safe? Because the infection is so severe. Um, like, they're attacking the lymph nodes. So anyway, sorry, I'm dragging this on. I walk in, and I go to the water, um, to the refrigerator with the water in the back of the 7-Eleven, and all this is on my mind. Like, how do I know I'm protected? Like, if I truly am just this white knight, not that I am, but if I truly become that, wouldn't I just get picked off? You know. Um, so anyway, I'm thinking that, and I decide, what, I'm not gonna eat the apple. I don't feel like getting poisoned now. I'm gonna just get the water because I can see that it's clear, and I'm gonna drink that and think about it some more when I get home. Um, and when I went and grabbed the water, I grabbed this Core water uh, bottle, and it was chilled already, and it was frozen on the inside of it. Um, and it wasn't in a freezer, it was just in a fridge, but it was frozen, but like the perfect type of frozen where you can still drink it, you know? And oh man, best water I ever had. I would call it holy water. But anyway, I get that water. I walk to the guy at the stand, and I'm thinking about my best self, and I see this guy, and the best word to describe him is inspiring. So he's working the 7-Eleven, and he looks like the lead singer of Young the Giant, but younger, and kind of like the Jesus from my dream that I had one time. And he looked like how I wanted to look like. I mean, we were different races, but he was, you could tell that he was more than just his job, and he had other things he was working on, and he was doing a really good job at everything. And for whatever reason, he was still found himself in a 7-Eleven just giving me my dollars, my change. And I looked at him, and he was wearing a shirt, and it said "Fear God" on the shirt. And lately I've been seeing there's this brand called Essentials that says "Fear of God" on it. This one just said "Fear God," and it was a pink tie-dye shirt, pink and white. It said "Fear God" in big letters on the front. And he had jet black hair, a white smile, and maybe earrings, and a good haircut, and he just looked really well put together. And probably the most, I mean, not probably, he was the most beautiful man I had ever seen in my entire life, hands down. And so my first thought is, wow, even this guy he has to humble himself and show up for work at 7-Eleven, and he's decided, you know, he's going to take care of himself, his body, his mind, and he has a good relationship with God because he's telling people to fear God, and he's, working the 7-Eleven, and I don't know. And so I look at him, and I have a $5 bill, and the water costs, somewhere around $3. And I think I had bought that before and gotten like a certain amount of non-exact change. But this time I give him a $5 bill. As I'm making conversation, I say, I blurt out what his shirt says. I'm like, "Fear God, that's so cool. I said, "Fear God, I love that." Talking about his shirt. And he looks up at me with surprise that I could see the shirt is the best way I could describe it. So it's almost like he wasn't there. I was seeing like a projection of like an angelic figure that was moving the body of the real 7-Eleven employee. Because a real 7-Eleven employee, his name's Ahmed, and he wears black, like the 7-Eleven shirt, and I know everyone that works at that 7-Eleven, and they don't have like guest workers. And this dude, there's no evidence of him like existing other than my memory of this. And so I look at him. I'm obsessing about my website at this time, and I had just recorded Sermon on a Cloud on my YouTube channel, and I was very into God at the time, and like making a difference. And so it was so cool to see this inspiring figure, and so normally in these situations, if I feel like I've made a connection with someone who says something like "God bless you," or like he like bravely announces that they believe in God, like wearing a shirt that says "Fear God" or something like that, I give them my card because I think, hey, maybe this person might go on my URL on my card, and they can read or watch my videos, and maybe they'll like it. And this dude, when I had the thought of reaching into my wallet and getting out my card and sharing with him my shtick, like I knew he had his shtick. I wasn't wearing a shirt that said anything, so I would have had to pull out my card, I felt. But then I realized as I was looking at him and he was looking at me, so when I give him the $5, he like does something with the register, puts the $5 away, and then takes out these two $1 bills and hands them to me. And the whole time we're making eye contact, and it was the smoothest exchange ever. It was like I waited for it to be my turn. I showed him a $5 bill. He took it. I complimented him. He looked up and gave me the $2. And I remember I took them and put them away. And we both kind of couldn't believe it, how smooth it was that the bottle of water cost exactly $2 after tax, or exactly $3, excuse me, after tax. And I happened to have a $5 bill, you know, normally I would pay with a card and it would be awkward. I'd hit the pin, not awkward, but not godlike, right? So it was like, boom, boom, fear God. He looks up, he doesn't say a word. I go to, get my card, and then I realize, oh, he already knows who I am. He already knows what I'm going through. This person has clearly already been through it, and they're showing me what it looks like to be a soldier of God. So it was as if I was dealing with an angel of the Lord, is how I would describe it. I would describe it as Jesus himself, potentially, like my version of Jesus, or God himself. Those are the three options. And then the fourth option is, you know, it's purely a hallucination due to lack of sleep, and it was a human being. But I went back and asked to see the footage later, and met the owner, met all the employees, wrote them a note of exactly when I was there, what I ordered, told them I'd pay you for the footage. You know what I mean? I need to see if what it looks like on the camera when I was talking to this being. And the being, he never took his eyes off of mine, and I was really going through it. If you listen, well, I mean, I really cared in that moment, you know, about doing the right thing. I can't do that every day, but I did that day, you know, and I was really praying hard. And so he looked at me with so much understanding and love in his eyes that I couldn't give him the card. I realized it would be preposterous if you met God and you reached and gave him your business card. He'd be like, come on, bro, I know, I've seen everything you've seen, like I've lived it with you, you know, and I'm showing you what it actually looks like if you tap into your true self. And so I managed to get out the words. I put my hand out of my pocket, and I start to walk away with my water, and I say to him, and it only a second had passed, so I had just said fear of God, and he looks at me, and then I think about the card, and then I try to walk away. I decide to walk away out of the 7-Eleven, you know, to leave him be, and I say, I say the beginning of wisdom, you know, because in the Bible it says the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. And I kind of wanted to at least finish it for him. I don't know. I managed to get that out, and then I walked away, and never seen him again. But I'll never forget him. He reminded me of one of my friends at coding boot camp. Arya looked like him a little bit. But man, just watch Mind Over Matter in the Open by Young the Giant, and look at that lead singer. Imagine him like 24, you know, and killing it. And you know, it didn't, the longer I thought about it, the more it didn't make sense that he was working the 7-Eleven. And I don't know if me thinking about it and recollecting is when I had this image in my mind, but I had this image that I was thinking something leading up to the register, and Jesus basically came down, literally like from Asgard, you know, like the Bifrost, like came down in a rainbow and pushed aside another Avengers thing, like, you know, when you push the soul out of someone's body in Doctor Strange, basically like hijacked the situation to do the transaction with me, to show me, hey, God is real, and this is how you serve him. You know, you be you be a badass like me. Like you don't take you fight the fight. Like you just because my whole thought process was, okay, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. Like this isn't working. I'm gonna keep trying. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna make a better better health decisions, make better content, change more lives, like whatever. But yeah, there are soldiers out there. There's also that scripture that says, he who entertains strangers sometimes entertains angels unawares. And um, I think about that all the time sometimes, like when I have a interaction with a homeless person or even just a stranger, and I think, I wonder if that was an angel, I don't know. I just okay, so now I'm gonna tell the second half of the story. So what would you do if you were me, right? You would maybe tell someone, or maybe keep your mouth shut. Like, hey, I just saw Jesus at 7-Eleven. What I did is I walked over to the Chipotle, stood up on a rock, and announced to everyone that Jesus has returned. And I was like, may I have 10 seconds of your attention? Everybody looked at me and I was like, Jesus is back. Just met him at 7-Eleven. He's way nicer than you think. And he's accepting of all forms of lifestyles. And it's all love or something, like something like that. Because the vibe I got with him with the pink shirt was that homosexuality was not an issue for him. Like it is, but it's not. Like it's hard to explain. Like he loves everyone and he understands everyone. And like, you know, it's not fair to think that for sure that Jesus disagrees with what you're doing, unless you're looking him in the eye, and by then it's too late. You already know he loves you, you know. So it was like be masculine, but also be feminine. Is kind of the message I was getting, because this guy was could clearly pull any girl. The 7-Eleven guy I'm talking about, but he was also wearing pink. So anyway, what would you do, right? So what I did was I considered 7-Eleven a safe place. I considered, okay, and my number I was obsessed with. See, I'm not as crazy as I was then, but that's why it's taken me 6 months to say this story, because I don't want people to think I'm still in that headspace, and I'm not. It's just I have to tell the story. It has to be told, because it's not like I'm having hallucinations now. It's not like I cracked and now I just have hallucinations. No, this is a one-time only hallucination. I mean, other than one time I thought I saw a demon or the devil, like some guy who I saw no one else could see, who was a doctor. But that's a different story. But anyway, so I saw the divine being, right? And then I made the little announcement, and then, then I drove to a 7-Eleven, the next week or something. And sometimes I just feel like breaking the rules. So if every car is parking in the same direction in the white lines, and I can find a way to park that isn't following any rules, but also isn't inconveniencing a single soul, other than breaking a rule that is designed to not inconvenience people, right? Like, why be robotic about it? Like, if the light's green and there's no cars coming behind you, why are you compelled to follow the rules? The rules are there so that people can pass through that intersection without getting in an accident. But you don't have to be like literally a robot. You know what I mean? Like, this is your world. God created you, and he put you in this heaven, this earth, this cloudland. This is your domain. This is all you get as far as you know. And so why not, like in Dead Poet Society, he stands up on the table. He's like, it's different from up here, like everyone try it, He's trying to break the roboticism the conformity. He even has them march, and he says, get out of the conformity. And one guy doesn't march, and he says, I'm using my right not to march. Anyway, so I drove to a 7-Eleven. It's this huge 7-Eleven parking lot, and I parked right in the middle. I'm not bothering anyone. I stand up on top of my car. At first I think I laid down because I was tired, and I kind of just stopped my car where I felt like it, and kind of went to sleep a little bit. But then I had a surge of energy and woke up and stood on top of my car, and it was like dawn, like light was coming, and I was up on top of my car, and 7-Eleven's open, so people are trickling in the morning, going to get their iced tea or whatever, and I'm just a dude standing on top of his car. And if anyone has a problem with me, I have a reason. I'm like, well, I actually saw God at 7-Eleven. So to me, it's a holy place right now. And if I want to be up here, I can be up here. And one time someone asked me, who told you could park there? And I said, God did. There was no moral problem in my head with my relationship with God, my honest, true relationship with God. I was allowed to park there, even though there were no white lines, even though I was parked sideways and all the other cars were parked vertically or whatever. People could get around me. There was no space you couldn't park in, technically. And one time I had this great interaction with this guy, and he happened to be parked directly behind me where it would be difficult to back out and not hit me. So he asked me to move after buying me food or something. I forget exactly our relationship. But he was smiling. Some people are happy to see someone standing on their desk or standing on a car, doing something crazy, because it's why not? What am I doing wrong other than breaking from the conformity in that? If I'm peacefully just standing up there, why not? And I'm greeting everyone as they walk by, welcome to the greatest store on earth. Did you know that I actually think I saw Jesus here, last night or the other night? Not at that 7-Eleven, but at a different 7-Eleven. So, the parking at my 7-Eleven is a nightmare, so I would never block parking there. But we're talking this much space. Just a weird 7-Eleven that had plenty of space, so I just parked right in the middle. And I just said, this is mine, And I basically said, I claim this. If God's willing to look me in the eye like that, and I really did just have that interaction with him or his son or an angel, well, I'm going to announce my dominion over this 7-Eleven temporarily. And this is my throne. And I was basically sitting up there like a king, just behaving, just playing, really. If you really want to know, I'm just playing. But I'm also saying, you know what? I don't accept the rulers of this realm, the spiritual wickedness in the high governing places. If you go back to the oldest translation before King James took the governor part out. I don't like our governor. I think he shouldn't close movie theaters in the name of public health. So anyway, I'm up on my car, and everyone I would have a different reaction to me, and I would react differently to everyone else. I was mostly pleasant, but if anyone challenged me, I would just challenge them so directly and distinctly and fierily that they would cower, they would whimper away. They couldn't look me in the eye and say a firm statement like, you should get down from there. There was no one man enough to challenge my position of authority. And when the 7-Eleven worker came out and tried to yell at me to get down, I just barked at him and he went back inside, And I had this authority because I truly believed that I had the authority. So I really believed that God wanted me there. And so therefore there was no one who could actually make a good case for me to get down. And one time in the morning, eventually the owner of the 7-Eleven was getting there. No one had called the cops for some miracle reason. the owner, friend of the owner walks up to my car and says, "Hey, man, can you get down from there?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." I had already set my alarm. I'm like, I'm planning on getting down, at 10 a.m. And it was like 8 a.m. And I was like, "Is that okay with you or something?" And I was being dead serious, and he thought I was being sarcastic, or like he's like, "Oh, so you're a smart ass or something." I was like, "No, I just that was my plan. Like, is that our like I don't know. I forget all the details, but he walks away, and then this black guy walks out of the 7-Eleven. He's like, "Brother, they're calling the cops. You got to bounce." So I get down in my car through my moonroof and drive away, and they never caught me. And I was there all night and all morning up until that moment. And I ended up getting caught later when I pulled the stunt again in Westlake Village. They got me in like 5 seconds, but it's different out here. But anyway, people ask me when I got my license suspended. It's fine now, but I got it suspended for the Westlake Village thing, and people ask me, why did you do it? And I didn't have a good answer of why would I be standing on top of my car. Um, and I think it's kind of the ending of Dead Poet Society, where they're in this authoritarian school and they have all these rules and all these consequences for breaking out of line, and they just say, "I'm going to do it anyway because this isn't right." What you're doing to our teacher, blaming that guy's suicide on the teacher, I'm standing up on my desk right now, and I don't care what you do to me. This is my moment of defiance. That's what I was doing. That's the best. That's the best like analogy for it. Cause I'm like, what? You want me to just like fall in line and like go to work and come back and pay all my bills and yeah, I like do everything that I'm supposed to do, right? Like wear a mask 8 hours a day in an office job instead of saying I quit and I'm not coming back till you get rid of the stupid mask rule. And then they get rid of the stupid mask rule and I come back, which actually happened. So I got the entire, and then you know what happened after I stood up? The entire office didn't have to wear the mask. It became optional and no one wore it because it's not an option. It's stupidity. It's a human boot stamping on the human face forever, or an alien boot. Okay, so this brings me to my next point. While I was up there all night and all morning, there was some very interesting altercations I got into and there's something about naturally, if I'm 20 feet in the air and I'm having a conversation with you, I have authority over you subconsciously, because you have to look up to like see me, and I'm talking down to you literally, and I'm also firm and positioned, willing to take the consequences, and I'm not humiliated if someone humiliates me. Like some guy goes, "You're a joke," and I go, "I'm a joke," or I go, "I'm a joke. You're a joke. I'm the Joker, the king, the ace, and the thief," or something. And like he was like, "Oh, like he couldn't recover from that. He had no comeback." I would always have a comeback. Like my emphasis was emphatic. So at one point, I'm just up there to be up there. I'm rapping Eminem, and this car drives by, and because I just know Eminem lyrics, I'm like, "You only get one shot, do you know what I mean? Da, 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 da." And these kids yell out, like, "Why are you doing this?" Because they see this man on top of his car in the middle of the 7-Eleven parking lot, just singing Eminem, just having a blast. Yeah, like, and I go, "Raising conscious awareness of God." I don't know, and they were filming me. I get filmed a lot when I do stuff like this. I don't know where the video goes, except sometimes I see the videos in my dreams. God will just show me the cell phone video of me surrounded by police or whatever I was doing. I've seen it in my dreams. So anyway, I saw an alien when I was up there. I've only seen one alien in my entire life, and it was this scenario. And absolutely, you could say lack of sleep, hallucination. I totally respect that opinion. But I'm just going to report it as I experienced it, because I think aliens are interesting. I think God is interesting. I think stories of people either dreaming of them or experiencing them in real life are both interesting. So if you do too, here's the alien thing. I'm up there challenging everyone who challenges me, being nice to everyone who's nice to me. I'm being like funny, yeah, at times. I had a sense of humor about me. I wasn't being belittling to people unless they were challenging me. And I was in that moment, I believed I was an actor of God. I believed I was God in that moment, in the sense that I would say poetic things, like I would say, prayed it. I would be like this one guy was like mumbling something as he walks away, and I would go, I can't hear you. Why don't you come over closer to me, and if you have something to say to me, because you're talking too softly. You obviously don't really believe it. And no one could really fight with that, and sometimes they would come up and say, well, I think you're a joke, or I think this. And I would welcome them in my presence, and of course I'm willing to debate. Like, if you want to talk about, anything, I'm willing to sit there and have a conversation with you. Like, that's what I'm there to do. I was basically trying to be like the rightful king. Like, what would a king be if you really had someone who took control and said, this is mine, I don't like what the rulers are doing here, I'm declaring myself the ruler. And if all the cops just went along with it, like, if it really got momentum, which it does get momentum. There's a reason, like, Jesus could have been just a man, right? If Jesus was just a man and he was really good at talking and everyone would follow him everywhere, and then the government's trying to kill him because he's ruining everything for everyone, that's an impressive man. And I've done things that are 1/1,000,000th of what he was able to do. I don't know exactly the truth of him, but that's the idea, is a man just saying, no, I get my authority from God, and this is the way it is. I'm going to heal the sick, or whatever whatever. So anyway, as I'm up there, this car comes like to the side, because there's an intersection. I'm at the corner of the intersection on my car, and this white, like, kind of Tesla thing comes up, and it's parked at the light, so it's gonna go straight, but the driver can look and see me up there, and I'm not interacting with anyone else except for that car at that moment. And I'm looking at it, and it's looking at me, and it caught my eye because it was doing things that were not normal for a car, in the sense that it had these black kind of radar dishes, or satellite dishes, or sensors. So it was like this all white car with these black sensors, like a big black satellite dish that, like, comes up out of the car, and not like a cartoon, but like a super sophisticated alien morphic invisible technology, where all of a sudden I'm seeing, and I had the sense that what I was seeing was given to me by God lifting my veil, and I could see something that other people couldn't see, because it appeared to be a normal car. Like, most of the design was flawlessly human and mechanical, but I could tell it was an alien life form. So I hopped down on my hood, and I'm looking at it. I'm on my car, and I see it scanning me, and I'm like, are you of me? Because in that moment I was like, the whole I am God. Like, I don't think I'm God right now, but I did then, trust me. And I was like, are you of me? Meaning I'm speaking of the Lord. Like, I'm being possessed by God in that moment. And I'm saying, are you of me? Because I'm recognizing new power, new technology. Someone is scanning, who is this gorilla on top of his car that is capable of silencing everyone around him. People are bringing him food and water. No one's calling the police yet. And the 7-Eleven employee can't stop him, No one can stop him, and he's doing this ridiculous thing, claiming himself to be God. Like, why? Who is this man, right? So they're scanning me, and I look at him, and I say, are you of me? No response. And I say, so now I know it's not of me, right? So, like, it's not of the Lord. It's not an angel here to help me. It's an alien scanning me for my power levels, right? That's what I was thinking. Whatever. Maybe I'm totally wrong, but this is my experience, right? So then I say to it, if you are not of me, what makes you think you won't be annihilated? And I was dead serious because I'm thinking if we get into a fight right now, you and your $1 million car with your Gatling gun or whatever the fuck you got going on with that fake civilian car, which is actually Miltech or Alien Tech, if we get into a fight right now, I'm going to win. If I'm on behalf of the Lord, I'm invulnerable. If God wants me to be, I can walk on water, if required. If it saves your soul in the moment, if it proves the point for me to calm the storm, I can do it. If God wants it to be done, it will be done through me. Was my opinion of myself, my own power level. So I'm thinking I get all my power from God. I am God, as in this moment I'm a vessel of God. I know I'm at least of God, right? So me and God are on the same team. So whatever technology you got going on there, buddy, it's not, if you're not of me, what makes you so sure we won't just kill you? Like, you'll be dead forever, annihilated. Every alien colony that you're united with will be gone forever. How confident are you that, like, as you're scanning for threats and you see this measly human, how confident are you that you won't lose this fight? And when I said the word annihilated, he looked at me and then looked back and drove off. And when he looked at me, I said, come here. And I looked him dead in the eye. And it wasn't a person. It was a disguise of a vehicle that was projecting the image of a person driving the car. But it wasn't, it was like kind of like some Men in Black shit, you know, like it wasn't actually a human in a car. It felt like the car itself. The man of the car looked at me when I said the word annihilated. So I went home and wrote it down because, like, that was poetic shit. Like, I felt like that's what Jesus would have said, or that's what God would have said in that moment, is if you're not of me, what makes you think I won't kill you, essentially, right? Like, what makes you think you won't be annihilated? And yeah, I went home safely, and I am a nerd for Halo and Master Chief. It's Spartan 117. I have my own connection to that number. And so I thought it was interesting that I met Jesus at 7-Eleven, which was the inverse of the number I was calling myself at the time. So it's like 117 met Jesus at 7-Eleven. Like, that was God's way of shaking my hand or making eye contact with me. It was like, I'm going to meet you. I'm going to use this realm, whatever you're experiencing, to communicate with you that numerology is real. Like, I'll to prove it, I'll meet you at your favorite number backwards. You know what I mean? And it's everywhere. And they won't change the name, even though it should be 24/7, right? Anyway, sometimes I'm way off, you know, and sometimes I neglect my responsibilities financially and everything, or bodily. I've been going to the gym every day, trying to work hard. But that's my story of meeting God and challenging or threatening an alien. And, you know, I've seen on drugs, I wasn't on drugs during any of this. You have to understand, dead sober. Sleep deprived? Maybe, yes. Because I was doing that stunt. Like, I don't need sleep, you know? Is like, was my thinking. So yes, sleep deprived, sure. And when I saw all the stars fall out of the sky when I did salvia in like high school. And that experience made me realize, I think that was the first time I did drugs, and it made me realize, I mean, drugs or no drugs, either way, I just saw the sky fall. So something's off. Like, Even if you can write it off to, oh, you just need sleep, or oh, you just need to, you were just on drugs. Well, so what? You still live in a world where you can experience something in multiple ways depending on your state of consciousness. And because I know what I saw. I saw a car with technology that doesn't exist in our known understanding of technology. Like a deep black hole, like radar disc. Like, like how it looks really cheap and really expensive at the same time, you know? Yeah. And it was directing at me. Like 5 different sensors came up and like looked at me and were like running tests. That's what I felt. And I wasn't the slightest bit afraid. I was excited. I was like, are we doing this? Are you ready, like, to join me in my conquest of this rotten earth? Or did I just identify who I need to destroy? Because there might be aliens manipulating humans, and the aliens might know that the humans have power when they're connected to the creator of everything. And so they try to suppress our power with mind control and whatnot. But if you tap into your power, who's to say you can't do what Jesus would do? So that's my story. One other thing I want to end on is what I said when I was acting as sort of like God or whatever on top of this thing. I said, like, what do you guys expect? What are you waiting for? Like, here I am. I was telling people, this is the best I can do. The best I can do is pray and meet God at 7-Eleven, and then show up to another 7-Eleven the next day or whenever I did it, stand up on top of my car and announce my presence. I'm here. Come ask me anything. I'll do my best to help you. This is my day off, like, I don't have work today. I'm working for God today. How can I help you? Like, if God won't come down himself and do this, I'm going to do it for him, and he can do it through me. So what do you need? And I will give it to you. That was my energy. And so in that moment, I really believed I was God. And one of the ways I put it poetically was, a guy's walking away and he's like mumbling, because he can't make eye contact. He can't say what he really believes. And, he's like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, don't pray to God. God can't hear you because you can't even look him in the eye. And you speak too softly, and you're walking away from him. And I said, God is localized. Like in me right now, I was basically hinting at, right? I was like, God is localized. I was like, pray to Jesus. God can't hear you. Because in my mind, Jesus had localized in that moment when I met him, and then become omnipresent again after that. And now I felt that my role was to be the localized version of God, and that God can always hear you through Jesus being everywhere at once. This was my spiritual mental model when I was saying this. But it was so interesting to me, like, that I had it figured out enough to, whether it's a delusion or not, I had an answer for everything. And I was standing on firm ground of, look, you can't look me in the eye and tell me I'm wrong. And no one could. And one guy, his name was Will. He was this black guy. I had my friend black guy who warned me. That was a different guy who I didn't tell him anything. I didn't say, read Luke chapter 6 or something. I just said, good morning. I just said, I'm not up here for you. You know what I mean? He was an alpha male walking, trying to get his drink at 7-Eleven. And he looked at me like, is this a crazy white person, that I should be afraid of? And I looked at him like, bro, I'm not up here for you. Like, have a nice day. I'm up here for the crazy people that need a God to come down and save them. So anyway, um, I made the point, like you can't like my whole thinking was, what if I actually was God? Like I know I'm not God. I'm Max at a 7-Eleven. I'm not God. But I was thinking to myself, what if I was? Like if I was God, how embarrassing that these people won't even try me out. Like, because I became frustrated, like as a God, if I really was God, I would want to be able to communicate person to people. I would want them to be able to walk up to me, look me in the eye, tell me why they think I'm wrong, or who they think God is, right, or whatever. And look, I'm not going to argue. Like some Christian walks up to me and they would want to talk for 20 minutes, and I would chat it up with them. You know what I mean? Like I have no problem with a true Christian, a true believer. I'd be like, you're right, Jesus is king. Like I'm just trying to follow his example. Like I would get along with, I can get along with anyone, I really can. But yeah, the God being localized thing. I remember thinking to myself, if I was God down here as me, as a man, no one's met me before, I'm in a foreign 7-Eleven, I wouldn't want to have to calm the storm. That's why Jesus is constantly like, you have little faith, fine, I'll do it. I'll prove I'm God again with supernatural means, because you can't listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth. How many times do I have to explain to you who I am and who you are and what we're capable of? And you're worried about a storm on a boat. That's why he's constantly like, you have little faith, you have little faith, you have little faith, every time he has to like do something. And if you have faith, he's so relieved because he doesn't have to put on the circus show anymore. He can just say, you're welcome. Your sin is forgiven. You touched my cloak, you thought it was me, you're right. Whether you think I am or not, you're right either way, whatever. I messed that up, but he who thinks he can or he who thinks he can't. If you believe in God, try that placebo effect. It goes down quite smoothly. Tastes like sugar. So, anyway, I love Jesus. I make my peace with God every night. I try to, before I go to sleep. I try to plan out my dream with him. And because I like to be skeptical during the day. I like to live a day of like, today I'm gonna believe that there is no God. I'm gonna not do anything immoral, but I'm gonna really question the dogma of a certain religion, or you have to open your mind to grow. But at the end of the day, I like to make my peace with God and say, okay, I didn't do the best I could today. Forgive me. Let's try again tomorrow. Man, it felt so fascinating. So some people, believed me, like the Will guy. That's what I was talking about. The Will guy challenges me. He was strong of spirit, and he comes up to me and goes, "You're whack, bro. Like get down from there." I forget what he said, and I looked at him and I'm like, trying to be nice to him, and then he like cusses me out, and then I cuss him out, and he's like, whoa, like aren't you supposed to be like a religious guy? Like how are you able to swear at me? And I'm like, bro, I'm just gonna communicate with you however I can. I'm gonna one up you. Whatever you're doing to me, I'm gonna prove to you that I have my faculties about me. I know exactly why I'm up here and what I'm doing. He walks into the 7-Eleven as my enemy, comes out of it as my friend, because he must have asked the employee, how long has that guy been up there? And the guy said, since I got in from work at 1 a.m. or something. So he walks out and he sees this man that is clearly standing in protest, like standing, willing to stand all day and all night, like as long as it takes, until the cops are literally coming to stop me from doing that. I was gonna stand there. And I timed it. I knew Well, for some reason I calculated 10 a.m. I should probably get home and shower and go to work or whatever it was, you know. But I was standing there, and when he came out, uh, I was ready to bark at him, you know, like, because we were having a barking match, and I'm the alpha dog in this parking lot, you know. And so he goes, "I believe you, I believe you," and he just walks by me because he had never seen such religious devotion before. And I just said, "Good Will Hunting" to him, told him to watch the movie because his name was Will, and I just grabbed that, and he said, "Okay." He probably went home and watched the movie and thought, wow, maybe he never saw it. Maybe, doesn't matter. The point is, he stopped cussing at me and he said, "I believe you." When I'm up there telling people that I'm God, basically. He literally said, "I believe you." And there was another guy who, he picked up trash for me. And it was this really interesting moment. Again, I know I'm not God up there, but I'm thinking the whole time, if I was, you know, what would I say? Like, I believe Jesus can speak through me. I truly, truly believe that. And truly, truly, I say to you, I told him, like, just please pick up that piece of trash and throw it away for me. Because he was asking what he could do or something. He was trying to help. And he did it. And I think his name was George or Rickard or something. And I told him he was a saint. I was like, you know, by the power invested in me, you're the first saint, you know? And he didn't want to do it. He wanted to walk away from this crazy person on the car. And as he was walking away, I knew this man believed in God. He was curious of me. Like, if you truly believe in God and someone's up there announcing themselves as God, most people who truly believe in God are going to walk up and try to talk to that person, understand where that person's coming from, and maybe try to help that person down or whatever it is. So he was interacting with me pleasantly. Maybe someone bought me a food and a drink. I forget if it was him or not. I think he got me a nice tea. But anyway, he starts walking away because he wasn't willing to do the trash thing and be named a saint or whatever. And I said, as he was walking away, I said, "You've waited your entire life for this moment, right?" And he stops. And I'm like, if you go away right now, you will never get this opportunity to speak to me again. This is your moment. This is what you've been waiting your whole life for, is to show a little faith, show a little respect, and pick up a piece of trash so I don't have to get down from my throne to do it my fucking self. And he did it. I know how God feels. I really do. I looked him in the eye. And it felt like my brother. You know? Felt like, you know, my dad back in time or some shit. I don't know. It was so crazy. And that's all I got. God bless you forever. God bless everyone. We're all on the same team, even the aliens, if they exist, right? I'm not making any scientific claims in this video. I'm just telling my personal #1 spiritual and alien experience that I've had. I hope you enjoyed the story. Mom, I'm okay. Dad, I'm okay. I'm just gonna have a normal day. You know, thank you for everything. And I go to the gym. I try to eat healthy, and I want to get into that highest self, healthiest self, and make a difference, because I truly believe that I mean, on the one hand, if I went away, um, God would still win. God would still find a way to win. But I don't know the true nature of reality, because there might be alternate realities, and this particular reality that this particular me is experiencing is dependent upon me. Um, like it comes from within, and then you are also a me. Like I love in Severance, there's this author who's, he's talking about the you that you are, and he says, I am me, I'm the author, and you are you. But the you that you are, there's also a lot of other yous that are reading this book, and he put it in this poetic way where it really makes you see how connected we all are as either a you or a me, and we're both. Sometimes I'm me, and from your perspective, sometimes I'm you. So God bless me, God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.